The year 2000. A small startup walks into a meeting with the biggest video rental company in America. They've got one offer on the table, $50 million. Just take it and make us your online division. That's it. That's the whole pitch. Nothing dramatic, no shouting, just two guys, a laptop, and a number. What happened next? It's one of the most talked about decisions in modern business history, the kind of story that gets brought up in business schools, in podcasts, in arguments about whether big companies ever really see disruption coming. This is the story of Blockbuster and Netflix, and the meeting that, according to the people who were actually in the room, changed the future of entertainment forever. Stick around, because the ending isn't what most people think it is. By the late 1990s, Blockbuster wasn't just a video rental chain. It was an institution, part of the culture. 9,000 stores spread across the country, 60 million customers walking through those doors, $6 billion a year, just from renting out movies people would watch once and return 2 days later. Friday nights in America, they usually started the same way. You'd pile into the car, drive to the strip mall, walk down those bright, overlit aisles, past hundreds of identical plastic cases, grab a stack of VHS tapes, maybe a new release, maybe something for the kids. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you'd remember the due date and the late fee waiting for you if you forgot. Blockbuster built an empire on that exact routine. It had already crushed smaller video stores across the country for over a decade. The local mom-and-pop rental shops never stood a chance against a chain with this much buying power, this much marketing, this many locations. It felt permanent. It felt unbeatable. So really, why would anyone sitting in that Dallas boardroom worry about some tiny startup mailing DVDs out of a converted warehouse? On paper, there was no reason at all. A few years earlier, two entrepreneurs had started something much, much smaller. Reed Hastings, Mark Randolph, 1998. Netflix launches as a DVD by mail rental service, run out of a modest office in California, going up against a giant that owned real estate in every strip mall in the country. Their idea was strange for the time, but simple. No store to drive to, no late fees hanging over your head, just a red envelope showing up in your mailbox whenever you wanted it. Did it work right away? Not even close. In the early days, this barely functioned as a business. Subscribers were few. DVD players themselves were still a new, somewhat expensive technology that most households hadn't adopted yet. Word of mouth was slow. Most people had never even heard of the company, and the ones who had weren't at all convinced it would still be around in a year. There were no guarantees here, no signs pointing toward the future this company would eventually have. Just two founders, a small team, and a bet that convenience would eventually matter more than habit. Then came the crash. 2000, the dot-com bubble bursts, and it takes down internet companies almost overnight. Fortunes built on projected growth and investor optimism evaporate in a matter of months. Companies that were valued in the billions one quarter are worth nothing, or close to it. The next, Netflix, still unprofitable, still small, still unproven, finds itself standing right in the middle of that collapse. Investors get nervous. Capital, which had been flowing freely into anything with a .com in the name, dries up almost completely. This is the same company that will, one day, be worth more than $150 billion. The same company that will fundamentally change how the entire world watches television and film. But right now, none of that is guaranteed. Right now, they're just trying to make it to the end of the year without running out of money. It's in this fragile, uncertain moment that Netflix's leadership requests a meeting. Blockbuster's corporate headquarters, Dallas, Texas. They'd reportedly been trying to get FaceTime with Blockbuster's leadership for months, through calls and connections, before finally landing the meeting. For Netflix, this isn't just an interesting business opportunity to explore. It looks, at least from where they're standing, like a potential lifeline. Blockbuster has the stores, the brand recognition, the customer base built over a decade. Netflix has the online infrastructure and the mail logistics. If Blockbuster says yes to this deal, Netflix's survival problem, the one caused by a crashing market and shrinking investor confidence, gets solved overnight. So they fly out, prepare their pitch, walk into a boardroom in Dallas carrying, essentially, a proposal that could determine whether their company exists in 12 months. According to Netflix co-founder Mark Randolph's own account, the pitch itself was simple. Netflix would run Blockbuster's online digital business. Blockbuster would keep doing what it already did well, running the physical stores. Together, the two companies would essentially own both sides of the video rental market, the aisles and the mailbox. When Blockbuster's team asks what this would cost them, the answer comes back: $50 million. Randolph has described in interviews and in his own book about Netflix's early years, watching then CEO John Antioco's expression shift in that room. He said it was clear the executives across the table were struggling not to laugh at the number, or maybe at the idea itself. Blockbuster's side of this story is different though, and it matters that we say so. Antioco has stated publicly that no serious acquisition talks ever took place that day, and that the meeting has been sensationalized and exaggerated over the years since. What isn't in dispute from either side of the table? No deal got made. Netflix walked out with the same problem they walked in with. No buyer, no lifeline, no safety net. Just one option left: keep going and hope the business eventually works. So they do. Slowly, subscriber by subscriber, month by month, the DVD by mail model starts to actually function. Red envelopes begin showing up in mailboxes across suburban neighborhoods, in cities, in towns most tech investors had never even thought about. Families start building new Friday night routines around this service. No drive to the store required, no standing in the new release aisle, hoping the copy you want hasn't already been rented out. No late fees hanging over anyone's head if the movie sits on the coffee table for an extra few days. Word of mouth grows, slowly at first, then faster. The subscriber base climbs. What looked, in the year 2000, like a forgettable, possibly doomed startup is, within just a few years, becoming a real, functioning business. Not a huge one yet, but a real one. And it's built entirely around something Blockbuster's entire business model never had to offer, because it never needed to: genuine, everyday convenience. Behind the scenes, the operation scales up considerably. Warehouses expand. Inventory grows into the hundreds of thousands of titles. The logistics of getting a disc from a warehouse to a mailbox and back again efficiently becomes something Netflix gets very, very good at. Good enough that it becomes a genuine competitive advantage, not just a quirky business model. By the mid-2000s, Netflix has millions of subscribers. It's profitable. It's no longer the tiny company that flew to Dallas hoping for a rescue deal. It's becoming something Blockbuster's leadership can no longer afford to dismiss. Then Netflix does something that will end up mattering even more than the mail order model ever did. It starts investing heavily, and years before most competitors take the idea seriously, in streaming technology. No more waiting for a disc to arrive in the mail. No more waiting a day or two or three. Press play. That's the entire experience. This is a bet. A genuinely risky strategic bet on where technology and where people's viewing habits are heading, made at a point when broadband infrastructure in most American homes still isn't fully ready to support it. Blockbuster, meanwhile, spends years perfecting an entirely different kind of experience: the physical rental store. Better store layouts, loyalty programs, reduced late fees, eventually eliminated altogether in an attempt to compete. But Netflix isn't trying to build a better video store. Netflix is quietly building the infrastructure that will make the physical video store concept unnecessary, completely. And by the time that shift becomes obvious to everyone watching, it's already well underway. Blockbuster doesn't collapse overnight. That's important to understand. It happens gradually, over years, and then all at once in a way that feels sudden, even though the warning signs had been there for a long time. Store visits start dropping, slowly at first. Younger customers in particular start drifting toward the convenience of both mail order rental and, increasingly, streaming. Blockbuster does try to respond, launching its own mail order service and later its own streaming attempts. But by the time these efforts arrive, Netflix already has a significant head start in technology, in brand trust, in the sheer amount of infrastructure already built out. Debt starts piling up, partly from these late attempts to compete, partly from earlier corporate decisions and ownership changes that left the company financially stretched. Store closures begin. First a handful, then dozens, then hundreds. What had once felt like an unshakable presence on nearly every street corner in America starts disappearing, one location at a time. Employees get laid off. Franchise owners, some of whom had run their stores for over a decade, watch a business model they'd built their livelihoods around simply stop working. It's worth saying clearly, this collapse wasn't caused by one single decision or one single missed meeting. It was years of accumulated missteps, debt, and slow reaction to a changing market. But that Dallas meeting became, over time, the single moment most people point to when they tell this story. In 2010, Blockbuster files for bankruptcy. Thousands of stores close across the country over the following years as the company is broken apart, sold off, and eventually wound down almost entirely. Today, only a single Blockbuster location remains anywhere in the world. It's in Bend, Oregon, kept alive largely as a nostalgic curiosity, a kind of living museum for a business model an entire generation grew up with, run by a manager who's become something of a local celebrity because of it. In one of the more ironic footnotes in this entire story, an independent documentary all about that very last store, called The Last Blockbuster, was made a few years later, and it eventually found its way onto a very particular streaming platform, Netflix. The filmmakers themselves have pointed out that irony directly, and the documentary itself actually pushes back on the simple version of this story, the one where Netflix single-handedly destroyed Blockbuster. The reality, according to former Blockbuster executives interviewed in it, is messier: debt, leadership turnover, years of missed opportunities, of which that Dallas meeting was just one. Still, one store remains, one symbol of everything that used to exist. Today, Netflix is valued at well over $150 billion. Blockbuster, as a company, doesn't exist anymore. Did that meeting in 2000 play out exactly the way Netflix's founders remember it? Maybe. Maybe certain details have been polished or exaggerated over 2 decades of retellings in interviews and books and documentaries. Blockbuster's own former leadership disputes some of it. But here's what isn't in dispute. From either side of that table, Blockbuster had a real chance, a genuine opportunity to own the company that would go on to reshape how the entire world watches entertainment. And for $50 million, a number that looks almost absurdly small in hindsight, they said no. Not out of malice, not out of stupidity even, just out of a kind of blindness that happens to almost every dominant company at some point. The assumption that today's advantage is permanent and that tomorrow's threats will look the way yesterday's did. Sometimes the biggest business mistake isn't a single bad decision made in a boardroom. It's failing to recognize, in the moment, which decisions actually matter.